Only one station has the power to cover Oklahoma with freedom, and you're listening to it. Your 100,000-watt talker is the new Freedom 96.9 and freedom969.com, Oklahoma's talk radio. Freedom
Weather.
Here's your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast. This afternoon will bring partly sunny skies with a high of 93. Tonight, expect clear skies with humidity and a low of 69. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with a high of 90. On Monday, anticipate mostly cloudy conditions with a thunderstorm in the afternoon and a high of 74. Tuesday will be cloudy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm reaching a high of 68. Wednesday is forecasted to be mostly sunny with a high of 75. With your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
We interrupt our program with a special bulletin.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are solely those of the speakers and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of this station.
Broadcasting live from the command center of Freedom 96.9 in Oklahoma City, it's McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma, saving lives, protecting property, fortifying Oklahoma one roof at a time. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. Scott McCollum has the day off, so sitting in the captain's chair is Hague Certified Roofing Inspector Scotty McCollum.
Good morning, Rick.
And joining us from the kids' table is McRoof.US Solution Specialist Johnny Nicholas.
Thanks for that wonderful introduction. May I say, I'm so excited to be on this station because this is my station. I love Freedom 96.9. I listen to it every day, all day long, and I've been waiting for the opportunity to come on and be on this channel.
Well, then you're allowed to come back then.
Yes, sir.
Retro Radio Randy is running the show today. He is still on probation, so we're not going to let him talk on the air, but you can talk to him when you call 405-608-4377. We are live streaming today on the McRoof Fortifies YouTube channel. Wave to the folks at home, guys. You can also hear us on freedom969.com. We'll start, as usual, with our trivia question and other interesting tidbits, including the word of the week, which this week is actually an acronym. The phone number for the trivia question, or to just ask a question, 405-608-4377. Later, we'll hear Scotty's view from the rooftop. The title this week is The Future Is Now. And then we'll have some After the Storm tips brought to you by Roof RX and wrap up with Dad's Wisdom. Coming back from breaks, of course, some certified obscure historical trivia. Now, Scotty, I sat next to you at that code-compliant roofing seminar your dad taught this week. He did a very nice job, by the way.
I thought so.
During one of the breaks, I visited the men's room, and after washing my hands, I pulled down a paper towel to dry my hands. Handwritten on that towel, it said, S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.US, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. My question to you is, how does your attorney do that kind of stuff?
It's amazing.
He's got people.
He's got people. That's the best explanation I can think of.
He's paid a lot of money.
That's the only thing that I can think of.
Yes, the guy's amazing. Okay, so let's get started with our trivia question. Johnny, you drew the short straw, so have at it.
Let's go. Question this week. A microburst is a localized column of sinking air, also known as a downdraft, within a thunderstorm and is usually less than or equal to 2.5 miles in diameter. Microbursts can cause extensive surface damage and in some cases can be life-threatening. There are two primary types of microburst, wet microburst and dry microburst. Which common weather phenomenon has the effects most similar to a microburst? A derecho.
Derecho.
Close.
B, a sub-EF2 tornado. C, a high precipitation supercell thunderstorm. Or D, a squall. Or E, all of the above.
If you think you know the answer
That's a heck of a question.
That is.
Did you write that?
I did not write this.
If you think you know the answer to that question, just think about it for a second and use some common sense. 405-608-4377. The winner gets their choice of a couple of books, Raving Fans or Unreasonable Hospitality, or a Lowe's $25 gift card, or 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater production that starts in September.
So many options.
So many options. So once again, the trivia question is, I'll bypass all of the lecture on microbursts. So which common weather phenomenon has effects most similar to a microburst? A derecho, a sub-EF2 tornado, high precipitation supercell thunderstorm, a squall, or all of the above? 405-608-4377 is the number to call. Okay, Scotty.
Yes.
The acronym of the week.
Of the day. ASOS.
Now, I smile when you say that, partner.
ASOS. Automated Surface Observation System.
Now, it's been a while since I had earned my engineering degree. What are you talking about here?
Well, we're talking about a rapidly deployable, oftentimes portable, set of instruments used to measure atmospheric pressure, temperature, wind speeds, visibility, dew point, and precipitation.
It sounds like that ties into the trivia question.
It has some relation to the trivia question, definitely.
Okay, because we're
Most of our things do.
talking about weather here.
Yes. And both of these things, the question and the word and the acronym, ASOS, I learned about both of these phenomena and set of equipment in my recently passed Hague wind certification. So now you can introduce me not only as a Hague certified commercial inspector, but also a Hague certified wind inspector, or you could just simplify it and say dual credentialed Hague certified inspector.
Oh, I like that. Dual credentialed.
Yes, indeed.
I'll say I'm going to make a note of that. That'll show up next week.
Sure.
Okay.
So ASOS, Automated Surface Observations System.
So what are the parts of this system?
Well, typically
For $25?
Well, I'll have to refresh my memory on that, Rick, but we've got temperature gauges, we've got barometers, we've got
Imagine an anemometer to
anemometer.
measure
Anemometer. That's the
wind
one
speed.
that I was really struggling to remember the name of. But yeah, the 3-cup anemometer, and then rain gauges. Like I said,
a bunch
the
of weather
temperature, just
weather
a normal
measuring devices.
Yes, indeed.
And why would one use this?
Well, they're
automated surface observation system.
Well, to give you an example, we're getting into hurricane season.
We're
in hurricane season,
yeah.
Of course, and something that a lot of institutions or agencies that possess these ASOS packages do is before a lot of universities, several universities, especially in the Gulf Coast and in Florida, deploy these devices in order to measure all of these variables that might be measured during the eye passing over this location after a hurricane makes landfall.
Okay. All right.
To measure all of these data points.
All right. So I understand we have Rowdy on the line. Hello, Rowdy. Welcome back.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're
I'm an old farmer, and I do roofing and stuff too, and I know what most of those things are,
Yes,
and I
sir.
know what a microburst is,
Yes, sir.
and my guess is going to be D, because
Oh,
Rowdy,
man.
that was a
man.
really good guess.
Good guess.
That was a good guess because you'll see why later in the show if somebody guesses it correctly. But all I can say is you are correct that it's very similar, and there might be other things that are similar too. So if that doesn't give people a hint, I don't know what will.
well, like I say, I'm an old farmer, and I've done roofing and stuff, and I talked to you guys before, but like I said, I knew what most of those were,
Yes,
and
sir.
I knew what a lot of the similarities are to different aspects of what your question was, and that was going to be my guess.
Yes,
it'll make it
have
easier
you ever
for somebody
been,
else out there.
Sure, Rowdy. Well, have you ever been in a microburst?
I have been.
Have you?
We spend a lot of time out on the what I would consider a microburst. We spend a lot of time, and I hope this don't give away the answer and stuff, but in the fields and stuff like that, and occasionally would happen that, and it's a lot real similar to well, I don't want to give away the answer.
Well, go ahead and say it.
It can do some damage, huh? To crops and trees and anything.
It mimics a tornado with a downburst and stuff like that, and like I said, I knew what most of those things were, and I said, well, it mimics a few of those, so
Well,
I gave it a shot.
You gave it a good shot, Rowdy, and we appreciate you calling. It's always good hearing from you.
All right, have a great day, guys.
You too. Enjoy your weekend.
And thank you, Rowdy, for listening. I really appreciate it. Okay, so for those of you who may have just tuned in and want to know what the heck we're talking about the trivia question today. A microburst is a localized column of sinking air, also known as a downdraft, within a thunderstorm. So it's a downdraft within a thunderstorm, and it's usually less than or equal to 2.5 miles in diameter. A microburst can cause extensive surface damage and in some cases be life-threatening. Of course, if you live in Oklahoma long enough, you've learned this. Two primary types of microburst, wet and dry. Which common weather phenomenon, this is the trivia question, which common weather phenomenon has effects most similar to a microburst? A derecho, which is a long-lived straight-line windstorm. B, a sub-EF2 tornado. C, a high-precipitation supercell thunderstorm. We know it's not D, a squall. Or is it all of the above? 405-608-4377. 405-608-4377. Retro Radio Randy is talking to someone right now. Maybe we can squeeze them in before we have to take a break. Let's try to do that.
We will.
I just want to remind everybody we are on freedom969.com if you want to stream it and watch us on the McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma YouTube channel.
Got it.
So our caller on the line is going to be joining us in the next segment. So, Randy, let's go ahead and take our break right now. And then we'll be back on the other side. You're listening to McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma live on a Saturday morning on Freedom 96.9. That's
Are you kidding me?
Live on the radio. We have Scotty McCullum and Johnny Nicholas with us in studio. Chris Meredith, who is running for State Insurance Commissioner, is on the phone. He'll be joining us on the short line when we come back.
This is Chris Guanera, CEO of Blue Falcon Aerial. We're proud to partner with McRoof.us to enhance the Roof RX program. McRoof.us already has a trusted, proven system, and we're here to add an extra layer of precision with crystal clear drone imagery using the state-of-the-art Mavic 3 series. With our background in the surveying industry and as drone instructors at Francis Tuttle, we know accuracy. Our documentation supports McRoof's certified professionals so they can make the best recommendations for your roof, saving lives and protecting property, one roof at a time. Roof RX, where technology meets technical competence.
They deal with the insurance company for you, which is so nice and helpful.
One of the most important things that I prioritize is setting the right expectation, what they can expect from their insurance carrier, what ducks need to be lined up to make sure their project reaches the outcome that they desire.
I'm on the phone most of the day, talking with insurance companies, trying to resolve a claim that has not been paid correctly. We don't give up.
They were able to come out and give a full, in-depth inspection. That process ultimately led to a doubling of the claim.
He probably got me, at least on this roof, $50,000 more by my calculation than I would have gotten with the other roofers.
It goes far beyond what a normal roofing company would do. we're going to do it right.
McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air for the second segment of today's show. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. On this date, in the year 79, Mount Vesuvius began stirring on the feast day of Vulcan, the Roman god of fire, and goes on to destroy Pompeii. On this date, Vesuvius started erupting.
Wow.
On this date in 1838, Mount Holyoke Female Seminary in South Hadley, Massachusetts, graduated its first class. All right. So we are listening. I hope you're listening to us on Freedom 96.9 FM or freedom969.com. Chris Meredith is running for State Insurance Commissioner. Chris has been on the show before. Chris, you spoke at the Code Compliant Roofing Seminar the other day. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris.
Super great. Good morning. I'm having a great time. I've been across the state this week from Lawton to Tulsa.
Wow.
And just hearing from lots of roofers, agents, consumers in the field, and hearing about the roofing situation and insurance affordability, and that's been kind of the focus. I mean, everywhere I go, that's the first thing that comes up is, hey, what's going on with my home insurance?
I
And
understand.
so we kind of start getting into it.
I understand that if elected to the office of State Insurance Commissioner, you are promising that a change is a coming.
Sounds
Absolutely.
like it.
I mean, to me, I mean, the biggest thing I want to do is get the roofing industry and the insurance industry together. You know, it's going to take leadership to bring people together, unite us under one mission, and that is to help the Oklahoma consumer. We've got to get out of this roofers are bad, you know, and insurance companies are bad, you know, going at each other, and just sit down and get the leadership of the industry together and figure out how we can solve, you know, remove some of the friction that's in the marketplace between us and work together for the benefit of Oklahomans.
How do you see the Oklahoma Roofing Contractors Association being involved in that discussion?
Yeah, it's so important because the association brings in, because of what it is, it brings in a unified roofing industry. So you can have more of a single voice, a voice of everyone coming together in that association to come in and then be the roofer's voice on this issue. And that's why that is so important. They've already built a nice large group of companies that are together, and they're talking about the issues on their side, so they can bring that in to the conversation as a united voice and give that perspective to the problem.
And Chris, this is Scotty here. I don't handle, as you know, a lot of the behind the curtain things that my dad deals with and talks to you about, but it seems that based on what I've heard from him over the last 6 to 8 months, most of this year, in his conversations with you and his conversations with Avery, there's a lot of things that are changing even just recently, such as roof permitting in Oklahoma City and licensure of roofing contractors, even on the residential end of things, that are already beginning to benefit consumers effective, you know, a couple weeks ago and immediately. Do you see that trend continuing based on your conversations with other other groups, other agencies on the legislative level?
Yes, I'm actually really excited about it because one of the things I'm bringing to the table with this is a national perspective, meaning what is going on in other places that we can do here in Oklahoma. And there's lots of things around the fortified construction and improved roofing standards that's going on all over the country. And one of them, I got to talk with the mayor of Tulsa and his team this past week at NAOP, basically it's commercial contracting and building. And I got to ask a question, and they were really interested in it, which is, hey, can we fast forward permitting for projects if they build in mitigation and resilience standards to their project? Meaning, let's say you're doing a commercial project like residential, like apartments or multi-family units.
Mm-hmm.
You put in fortified roofing, then you're going to go to the front of the line and get your permit approved faster than anyone else.
That's
and that
cool.
is huge because, I mean, as you know, if you can't get a permit, you can't get your project done. And so you've got money that's tied up and, and those types of things. So being able to work together,
cool.
Number one, roofers telling me permits are important. I didn't really know. I'm not a roofer. I'm not a construction person. And then me being able to bridge the gap with the city as a legislative liaison and working, in the government side, and knowing insurance, we definitely want fortified, more resilient homes. Bringing all that together, that's what real leadership is going to look like as commissioner. But like I always say, I'm not waiting to be elected. I'm starting right now. We're building the relationships. We're getting the ideas together to put it out and get to work right now.
Yep.
Chris, I have a question for you. Since you brought up fortified, I imagine a lot of our listeners who have been listening to this show for any period of time know what fortified is. But for those folks who may have just tuned in for the first time, what does fortified roofing mean? You mentioned improved building practices, but what does it mean in the long run for a homeowner to have a fortified roof on their house? And also, what does it mean to the insurance company?
Sure. So let's just get into, what it is. As a customer, one of the issues I heard this week was, hey, I put on a metal roof or hail resistant shingles, and I'm not getting as much bang on the insurance premium for my buck. And I have to explain to them, well, that's because it's only one piece of the puzzle. What good is a hail-resistant shingle if it blows away? Or a metal roof if it blows off? And you have cosmetic damage, those types of things. That's why we're talking about fortified, because it's really, you have a hail-resistant shingle that is then on top of a sealed decking with extra, I'm not sure what it's called, Scotty, but the felt
extra reinforcement and seam tape.
There you go. Yeah.
Better fastening attachment systems.
Right. You have better fastening, so it holds that down, and you also have a specific nail with a specific nail pattern that holds those shingles in place. So when the wind comes down the plains, it holds that shingle on, keeps the water from entering the home, and then also the shingle itself resists large hail. And so between the two of them, you've got a covering on your home that is extremely resilient to any damage. I mean, if you put this thing on, we saw a study out of Alabama when the hurricane went through there recently, and these homes are they can take 150 mile per hour winds and just huge hail, and the best claim is no claim. You don't want to go through the replacing your roof, having a claim, possibly your insurance rates going up. Fortified has been studied and shown, and this is why it's so important, shown that it resists damage, and you don't need to file claims, and therefore insurance companies love it, and they're willing to give you a discount for it because they want a home that they don't have to have a huge risk on.
Yep.
And so you get a lower premium, you get a resilient home that you don't have to worry as much about damage, maybe for the rest of the life of your home while you're there. So it's such a huge piece, and it really changes the game here in Oklahoma, where wind and hail are absolutely the biggest threat, and we have to build to that threat.
Thank you, Chris. Meredith, one last question because we're going to have to go to break. When is your election?
So primary will be June of 2026. So we're a little ways away, and my job's out there to get this message out and meet as many people as possible, and keep building.
All right, Chris Meredith, candidate for Oklahoma State Insurance Commissioner. Thank you for joining us on McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right, so our trivia question is still hanging out there. Which common weather phenomenon has effects similar to a microburst? Is it a derecho, a sub-EF2 tornado, high precipitation supercell thunderstorm? We know it's not a squall, or is it all of the above? Give us a call, 405-608-4377. McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma on Freedom 96.9. We'll be back after this quick news and weather break.
the latest news and stories that impact your freedom. Listen to Freedom 96.9 every day. We're the new Freedom 96.9 and freedom969.com. Freedom
Weather. Here's your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast. This afternoon will bring partly sunny skies with a high of 93. Tonight, expect clear skies with humidity and a low of 69. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with a high of 90. On Monday, anticipate mostly cloudy conditions with a thunderstorm in the afternoon and a high of 74. Tuesday will be cloudy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm reaching a high of 68. Wednesday is forecasted to be mostly sunny with a high of 75. With your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
We interrupt our program with a special bulletin.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are solely those of the speakers and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of this station.
McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air for the second half of this morning's live show on Freedom 96.9. On this date in 1966, now I normally do American history, but I couldn't pass up today's momentous history. On this date in 1966, the Beatles' last concert took place in Shea Stadium before a crowd of 45,000 people. That's the band that brought arena rock shows to all of us.
Modern culture.
Yeah, exactly. 2 years later on this date, Ringo Starr for you young ones, temporarily quit the Beatles while they were recording the White Album, Abbey Road, and then rejoined the group after a holiday in Sardinia, where he wrote Octopus's Garden. He was inspired by some snorkeling while, I'll say, having a good time. And he had a vision. Okay, McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma. Oh, and by the way, there are a couple of other obscure Beatles trivia on this date. I won't go into it, but
that you probably know by heart.
Yes.
Well, now that I'm live in front of a microphone, they have escaped me. But let's get back to the trivia question. Which common weather phenomenon has effects most similar to a microburst? Is it A, a derecho, which is a long-lived straight-line windstorm, B, a sub-EF2 tornado, C, a high-precipitation supercell thunderstorm, we know it's not D, a squall, or E, all of the above? If you think you know the answer, 405-608-4377. The winner, by the way, will get their choice of several wonderful prizes, choice of a couple of books, Raving Fans or Unreasonable Hospitality, a Lowe's $25 gift card, or 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater production this coming season that starts next month. All right, so, and the number again, 405-608-4377. So, Scotty,
is it time to get on the roof?
Not quite. We'll
man.
We'll get you up there.
Let's get up there. Let's go.
I want to hear what you guys did this past week besides taking a half day off and going to the code compliant roofing seminar.
Well, we are getting caught up on I say getting caught up. Every week we're knocking roof projects out and adding more to the list. So we're not necessarily catching up, and this coming week may present some weather challenges.
Yeah,
but
quite a few.
We'll see. We are catching up quite drastically on our backlog of repairs. So that's good because the last few months we've had a backlog of about a month and a half, maybe 4 to 5 weeks in some cases, and 5 to 6 weeks in other cases on average for medium and larger size repairs. So that's very nice to be down to 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because we've kept Sean very busy, and he's been working hard and working diligently to whittle that down.
Yeah.
And we've also, well, again, added more to the list, but the ones that we're adding are, smaller, more isolated repairs than the, massive repairs that Sean's been working on. So that's a good thing.
Man, I just added a big one Friday night. Sorry, bro.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's a scope that I wrote on.
Yeah, big one.
Anyways. those will always come up, but we are in business to handle repairs, and that's something we'll comment on later in the segment.
Okay.
Yeah, repairs are important.
Well, with that in mind, let's get you up on the roof. Hang on, Scotty. Hang on. Oh, my, Scotty. So the view from the rooftop, your view from the rooftop this week is called The Future Is Now.
It is, Rick, and I wrote this for Johnny, but we'll kind of do it as a tandem segment because there's things you can just add, Johnny, if you feel I'm going on a tangent that bring some thoughts to your mind.
I'll kick you right off the rooftop and take over.
Yeah.
There you go.
Don't hesitate to tag in.
Just make sure I land on that in that pool, please.
Aim for the bushes.
Yes. So it's perfect that we had Chris on the line a minute ago because there's some things that I'd like to piggyback off of what he said in this segment to start. And ultimately, my description for the segment to you last night was in my notes was we tell of a world where insurance denials are a thing of the past. It's really much, much bigger than that because we're talking about some changes in the industry that have to do with that will affect property owners, home and business owners that have a roof, affect insurance companies. It will affect contractors, and it will affect manufacturers of roofing products, both on the commercial and residential end of things. And I'd like to start with what Chris said about, well, what I inserted actually about legislation. And recently we've had some changes just in Oklahoma City about permitting requirements as well as licensure requirements for residential insurance contractors, or residential roofing contractors, that have already begun to create small ripples in our local industry. Within roofing and contracting, you have to have a permit for any residential roofing applications in Oklahoma City municipality, but then the licensure requirements and then the test that contractors have to take, that is way different than anything we've ever done. So that minimizes, it doesn't eliminate, the amount of fly-by-night contractors that may be looking to get in, get out quick, and make a quick buck.
We're moving forward
off some vulnerable, folks.
Does that test, is that a state test or a City of Oklahoma City test?
I believe that's a CIB test.
Okay,
I'm not.
state
That's a Scott
Board.
question.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's a state CIB.
I think you're right. I think he's talked about how that test has been beefed up.
Yep. Then I'll move on to, because of that, shady contractors going out of style is my note. I kind of already touched on that, but then we move into the drone space a little bit where RoofRx right now is beginning to gain some traction nationwide, is employing drones and licensed, credentialed, reputable, objective inspectors and contractors to manage relationships with clientele that enter the system, that need a repair, that may not need a replacement, or who do need a replacement, but they are there, they're established, they do good work, and they're there to stand behind the warranty that they provide to the customers. Those offer additional value beyond what property owners are used to getting from a roofing contractor in the historical last few decades, on average. And what that will lead to is greater level of consumer education, greater end product as in terms of quality of application on various types of roofing projects, and that's going to bolster the insurance industry because those risks are lower for insurance companies. What that means is ultimately premiums will moderate. It will take a long time because we've dealt with generational issues in roofing that will take generations to fix, but my dad and other people in our industry have envisioned a world where there is some harmony between property owners, insurance companies, and contractors. And we do believe that can happen. And one thing Chris says in almost every speech that he gives in front of a group is, in order for there to be change, you must believe that change is possible.
Yeah.
And we believe that change is possible. We're encouraging other people to start looking into the options that they have at their disposal, because that room that you saw, that
Yeah.
you were in, you and I were sitting in,
Yeah.
we didn't see, as my dad said, a whole lot of gray hairs.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of younger guys, younger contracting firms that are young and ready to deliver a better quality product to the market and
Yeah.
care about their clientele.
That was exciting to see that room.
And I didn't know that that was out there, honestly.
There's a lot of contractors that are wanting to do the right thing, and the future of roofing is bright in Oklahoma, I think. We've been having some really crazy closed-door meetings, top secret. We're like scanning the room for bugs, like to, bugging equipment, making sure nobody's listening. Really, really crazy, awesome things for the future of roofing nationwide and the future of roofing in Oklahoma, and I'm super excited
to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for your view from the rooftop. I want to remind everybody our trivia question is still hanging out there. Which common weather phenomenon has effects most similar to a microburst, or a downdraft? Is it a derecho, a sub-EF2 tornado, high precipitation supercell thunderstorm, not a squall, we know that, or is it all of the above? If you think you know the answer, 405-608-4377. 405-608-4377. I want to remind everybody that you're listening to McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma on Freedom 96.9, and we're also live streaming on the McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma YouTube channel. We'll be back in just a flash, but remember, our trivia question, this will be your last call for the trivia question, 405-608-4377. We're here live in studio on a Saturday morning with Scotty McCollum, Johnny Nicholas. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. Retro Radio Randy is over there in the corner, still on probation. We'll be right back. Homer Stacy was a wholesome, good American kid from Texas. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the United States Army Horse Cavalry and was stationed at Fort Bliss. Homer was fascinated with aircraft, so he went to flight school and became an Army Air Corps pilot. Homer Stacy flew a Convair B-24 Liberator, the Yankee Doodle Dandy, on November 11, 1943, when his crew, along with 31 other bombers, destroyed a ball-bearing plant in occupied France. On a return trip, a mechanical failure caused the Yankee Doodle Dandy to drop out of formation, leaving it vulnerable, and shortly thereafter, 7 German Me-109s shot down the plane near Andano, Italy. 4 crew members were killed on board, the others parachuted. 1 was captured and taken prisoner. Homer was among the remaining 5 who made it to Switzerland and returned to duty. Homer Stacy survived World War II, the Korean War, and retired after 23 years of service with many awards and commendations, including the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Purple Heart, and multiple air medals. Homer Stacy McCollum, Scott McCollum's dad. Scott McCollum is McRoof. McRoof.us is owned and operated by the McCollum family, an honorable, trustworthy red, white, and blue family. If you want to fortify your property, call McRoof.us at 405-877-4663. Ask for your complimentary roof inspection performed by a credentialed Hague residential inspector. McRoof.us, saving lives and protecting property by fortifying Oklahoma, one roof at a time. McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma, back on the air for the final segment of today's live radio show on Freedom 96.9. Hey, on this date in 2005, Hurricane Katrina formed over the Bahamas later became a Cat 5 hurricane. As you know, it really did a number on New Orleans. That was devastating, but it did lead to the Oklahoma City Hornets coming to, or the New Orleans Hornets coming to Oklahoma City.
Charlotte Hornets. Wasn't it?
No, it was no.
New Orleans
New
Hornets.
Orleans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the time, they were New Orleans
Okay.
Hornets.
Yep.
And because they couldn't play, they came here, played for 2 years, and then moved on. And then that laid the groundwork for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Funny enough.
And then 3 years later, on this date in 2008, the star-studded American women's basketball team won the gold medal at the Beijing Olympics with a convincing 92-65 victory over Australia. Okay, our final segment of today's live show on McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma. We're going to be talking about, we're going to wrap up the discussion about insurance tips. How about that?
Sure. The best, I would say, the number one thing you need to pay attention to in your policies, whip out your renewal from your most recent renewal. Look and see if you've got replacement cost or actual cash value coverage. The second thing is making sure you've got ordinance and law coverage and what percentage of that you possess. Deductible, you got to know in Oklahoma, you always got to know your deductible for wind and hail because it's usually different from all other perils. Higher, usually.
Yeah. Way
higher in some cases. And any exclusionary verbiage pertaining to the roof, such as metal marring exclusions, actual cash value endorsements, which essentially are a roof surface payment provision, which essentially turns a replacement, what's marketed as a replacement cost policy on a roof, it turns that just on the roof portion of your coverage into an actual cash value settlement if you have a claim for damage on your roof, which obviously my dad has a word that he likes throwing around, disingenuous. I think that fits the bill for disingenuous.
Yeah.
And that's something that he's had continued conversations with different carriers and with Chris and Avery and other people in powerful positions about.
And Avery is the executive director of the Oklahoma Roofing Contractors Association.
Indeed.
And the Chris that you mentioned, in case you just folks have just tuned in, Chris Meredith, he is running for state insurance commissioner in the election next year. Okay, so how about storm tips? Hang on a second. We're gonna. I hear the thunder rumbling way in the distance. There it is. We may hear this sound this week. So what are some after the storm tips, or maybe even before the storm tips?
Can I make a tip real quick? Something that a
yes,
customer.
I was hoping you would help me with this.
Okay,
segment.
so a customer of mine had in Newkirk had some large hail, and to help document this claim, I'm not sure if they had that in mind. I don't think they did, but they took a picture.
I know where you're going.
Of the hail in their hand. So my advice would be, and this is something that
it was a time-stamped photo.
Time-stamped photo, geotagged, with a ruler in their hand, with 2 pieces of hail. The hail was 2.5 inches in diameter, very spiky and gnarly looking. So I want to start adding and telling people, if you have large hail, go out, grab it, snap a picture of it with a tagged photo, and that really, really helps in an insurance claim to prove what size the hail was, what day it was. That way it's harder for the insurance company to weasel out of things that they owe you.
That's a great tip. That's better than any of the tips that I was about to share, Johnny. And I think that we need to make that a more standard conversation that we have with our clients.
Absolutely.
I actually had a hail claim on my car denied, even though I had video of the hail shot through the windshield of the hail pounding on the hood of my car.
Oh my gosh.
And the insurance company denied it.
Wow.
What was their basis for that?
They said, well, we think there may have been previous hail damage, and so we're going to deny the whole claim. I said, but this is, look at this video.
So you need not McRoof, you need a company called like McCarr to take the claim over for you and to get that turned over for you.
Yeah, I have a different company now. Hey, while we have time here, and it's a luxury on a live radio show, I think we should probably answer the trivia question.
Oh, yes, yes.
All
I
right,
think you're right about that,
so
Rick.
let me set this up again, because you have it, because you dug deep for this one.
Yes, I did.
A microburst is a localized column of sinking air, also known as a downdraft, within a thunderstorm, and it's usually less than or equal to 2.5 miles in diameter. So it's a pretty big.
Well, I mean, in terms of geographic footprint, it's pretty small in the grand scheme of things. But of course, I mean,
If
2.5
you're in the
miles.
mid-
If
to
you're
us,
in it,
it's big.
it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter, because if you're in 2.5 miles of it, or if you're in the center of it, and it's 2 or 2.5 miles, you're gonna feel the effects.
But it's still referred to as a microburst, and of course, they can cause surface damage and can also be life-threatening. There are two types of microbursts: wet and dry. So the question is, or was, which common weather phenomenon has effects most similar to a microburst? A derecho, which is a long-lived straight-line windstorm, or a sub-EF2 tornado, a high precipitation supercell thunderstorm, or squall, or all of the above?
Well, don't ask me for the answer because I can't even pronounce one of them correctly. So, Scotty?
I say it's E, all of the above.
Yay! Yay, Scotty. So a microburst can be really devastating.
It can be. The effects are very similar to all of those things, different stages of all of those things. It can flatten modular homes. It can flatten sections of forest. I mean, I studied this in my Hague course recently.
Yeah.
And to see the damage photos that were taken by different agencies, response agencies, after a microburst or a, specifically in this question, a microburst, but just downdrafts in general, strong downdrafts, you would think that there was something very devastating like a tornado.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a potentially EF1, EF2 tornado.
Yeah. And we've heard over the years of airplanes being brought down.
True.
From a downdraft, a microburst.
Yep. Yeah, it's particularly dangerous to aviation.
Yeah. Okay, so you win the. You wrote the question,
I was just
so
about
you
to say,
can't really win the prize.
No. I would pass it on to somebody else.
What else is going on? Now, we have weather coming into the city and state this coming week, so probably not a lot of roofing going on. Or will you be dodging the storms and try to...
Probably just repairs, or I say just repairs. Some pretty good-sized repairs, but most likely not a whole roof. Unless it's there are a few...
I think we've got some on the schedule.
Pretty small roofs that we can tear off in sections and cover up in an instant if needed. So, and that's the thing, is we have to plan because of our backlog and just a normal business practice. We have to plan for it being a beautiful day, even if the forecast shows 70% chance of rain.
Yeah.
Just because we've been in the position of planning for the 70% chance of rain and it turning out to be a bright sunshining day with not a drop of rain.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma.
Yep.
You don't know what's happening.
So in the couple of minutes we have left, I want to circle back to the Code Compliant Roofing Seminar. What were the main takeaways for each of you guys?
I was pleasantly surprised by all of the roofers in Orca that were there, wanting to learn and willing to learn the right way to do a roof, and everybody was very receptive to what Scott was saying and to the presentation that he was presenting to them, and I was just very optimistic about the future of roofing. And there's a lot of bad ones out there, but there's a lot of good contractors out there. I was pretty pleasantly surprised about that.
I have to say, the open-mindedness, it seems like his presentation was well received, and I got value out of it, and I'm very critical of my dad most times, and I think he did a good job presenting, and in his own style, of course, as it should have been. I just think that he nailed a lot of key points and effectively communicated to the group where we're going as an industry, and some changes, or not even changes. Well, yes, changes recently that have been incorporated into building code that it seems like not many people have been made aware of.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's important to keep up. You can get licensed, but times change and the industry changes and standards change, and that's what the presentation was all about, is standards of application in this case mostly residential steep slope roofing, but there were some references to commercial low slope roofing, residential low slope roofing, different roofing applications, even different types of construction that provide some sort of foundation of knowledge for the roofing that we do day to day.
I was happy to see him having the opportunity to present factual knowledge to a receptive group, and raise the building standards, raise the professionalism of the industry, and have it be well received.
Yes, I was too. I thought it was very, very nice.
All right. Well, I need to say one more time that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. So we're about to wrap up the show. Johnny, I want to thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny.
Thank you for having me.
Now that you're
Freedom
in
96.9, let's
now
go.
you're in the command center.
Your inaugural episode.
That's awesome.
All right, so Dad's wisdom, Scotty. These are words from your grandpa.
Yes, they were. If the gate was open, leave it open. If it was closed, close it behind you. Pick up your brass, police your trash, and rest well knowing you're doing things the right way.
The words of Homer Stacy McCullum. Scott McCullum will be back next week along with Scotty. Johnny, we'll see you the next time one of these guys can't make it.
Sounds good.
I'm Rick Allen Lippert. I want to thank Retro Radio Randy for remaining mostly silent.
He tries.
We will be back next week. Thank you for listening to McRoof Fortifies, Oklahoma on Freedom 96.9.
KQOB Enid,